Follow along on page 119 in your book. Fill in the chart as we go. We will be finding the measures of all of these angles that are labeled with letters. Starting with angle A. Notice we have a pair of parallel lines here. Using this line as a transversal, we can use corresponding angles to determine that A is 45 degrees. Corresponding angles are congruent. Write in the reason column corresponding angles. For angle B, we use the same set of parallel lines but a different transversal. We have corresponding angles here, so B is 100 degrees because corresponding angles are congruent. Write corresponding angles in the reason column. As with many of these, there are multiple ways to find the missing angle measure, so here's another way to find angle B. Notice this triangle. We can figure out the third angle because angles in a triangle add up to 180. So this angle is 35 degrees. Then look at this larger triangle. The two angles shown are 35 degrees and 45 degrees. Therefore, B must be 100 degrees, so they all add up to 180. Add that to your reason column for B. Angles in a triangle add to 180. For angle C, we have a linear pair, which are supplementary, so the total is 180. Therefore, C is 80 degrees. Write linear pair in the reason column. For angle D, we have another linear pair where one angle is 90 degrees. They must add up to 180, so D must be 90 degrees. In the reason column, write linear pair. For angle E, we're going to look at this triangle. Angle E is an exterior angle, and the measure would be the sum of the opposite two angles. 50 plus 80 is 130, therefore angle E is 130 degrees. Write exterior angles of a triangle in the reason column. For F, we're using these parallel lines again, and this line as a transversal. We have corresponding angles which are congruent, so angle F is 130 degrees. In the reason column, write corresponding angles. Next, we find angle G, which is a two-step process. First, we have a linear pair here. Those angles add up to 180, so the missing angle must be 50 degrees. Notice we weren't asked to find that angle measure, but we needed to in order to find G. Now we have a right triangle, and we know that the acute angles of a right triangle add up to 90. So G must be 40 degrees. In the reason column, we used two angle relationships. Exterior angles and acute angles of a right triangle add to 90. Make sure you write both of those down. For angle H, we are looking at an isosceles triangle. These two marked sides of the triangle are congruent. Therefore, the base angles are also congruent, and this angle is 45 degrees. Again, we weren't asked to find that angle measure, but it's going to help us find H. Because the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees, there's a triangle, H is 90 degrees. In the reason column, we used base angles of an isosceles triangle, and we also used the sum of angles in a triangle add up to 180.